In this video, I'll go over how I got post finasteride syndrome. I'll go over my history with finasteride, why I took it, what it did to my hair, how I was able to actually recuperate my hair and look pretty good doing it. But I also go over how it affected my dick, how I ultimately got Peyronie's and was able to actually treat it and get over it and live a better life. So let's get started. So first, let's go over what post finasteride syndrome is, or PFS for short. So PFS is essentially a syndrome that happens to a very small percentage of men, less than 1%, that took finasteride and experienced long-lasting side effects. Basically, some of the side effects of finasteride are low libido, erectile dysfunction, issues with the penis, such as changing of penile structure. Even some people report some very, very crazy side effects, such as brain fog, issues with the skin, and yeah, all kinds of crazy things. So yeah, if you look at the post finasteride syndrome forums, right, you see a lot of doomers basically explain a lot of different issues that they took, even from taking just one pill. I started taking a finasteride when I was about, I want to say 32. I'm 36 now. And basically, I noticed that my hair was thinning, was receding, and to me, a big part of my personality was my hair. And to me, having good hair was kind of key, was of my style, right? Like I didn't really like the way that I looked, and so at this time, I had already had two kids. So my wife at the time was pregnant, and and the doctor just told me, like, hey, make sure that your wife doesn't touch the tablets, and make sure you're careful. And I didn't do like really any research except for like about women not touching it. I even abstained from sex and really like just didn't even touch it. Like, luckily this was about, like, maybe she was about like 8 months pregnant, so it wasn't like early into the pregnancy, so we weren't even having sex really at the time, because I'm not really into that, like, at that point in time. um and so yeah, I started taking it, and I really didn't think much of it. So had a nice healthy boy, no issues. And I was taking it like every day, uh for, I would say, about 2 years before I started noticing issues. So another thing that was happening is, 2 years into it, I was also masturbating a lot. So I was masturbating about like 6, 8 times a day. Like, it was crazy. I was just kind of working from home. I believe this is around 2020 or so. And yeah, one day I was looking around the internet, around YouTube, and actually, and I started looking into the side effects of finasteride. Mainly, I looked into the channel of More Plates, More Dates. So he had like a video that said, like, will finasteride shrink your dick? And the reason that I started looking into it was because about a day or so before, I was having some very rough anal sex with my wife at the time. And basically, I was just having problems, like, keeping an erection. And but it wasn't something that I had really been experiencing. Like I said, like, I was masturbating like crazy. I was having sex with the wife, quite a bit. And but the reason that I was having ED was because I actually injured my dick. So essentially, like I said, I was having very rough sex, and just my erection just basically went down. I felt a little bit of pain. I don't know if I heard something. I may have heard like a pop, but I didn't really notice it. And yeah, my erection just went away, and I couldn't get it back. And it was like, about 2 or 3 days where I just couldn't get an erection. And again, I was used to masturbating like crazy, like all the time. So I was looking into it, why. And I had talked to my doctor. I told him, hey, like, hey, this is what happened, and I'm not able to get erections. And he basically told me that it was in my head, right? So I was like, okay, whatever. So I gave it a little bit of time, and I still couldn't get an erection. So I started looking into it, and this was one of the first few things that I ran into. It's like, well, finasteride, like, does it cause ED, right? Because so I looked into medications, and what could be affecting my erections, right? I didn't really put two and two together. I really didn't think that it was like an injury or anything like that. So yeah, so I started looking into it, and I came across this More Plates, More Dates video that said, finasteride, like, will it shrink your dick? And I was already kind of like super paranoid about my dick, right? And I was like, what the fuck was going on? And I started like really like over rationalizing things, and so I was thinking like, oh shit, like really like thinking about it's like, yeah, like, you know, over these last couple years I haven't really been having 100% erections, and I feel like my dick shrink, right? Like it was I started getting into my head. I was like, yeah, this is all true. Like this PFS thing is like real. Like I remember, and I started like, you know, looking at my skin and like do, you know, kind of researching more into PFS, and I was like convinced that this was the issue, right? And so this was for about maybe like 2 weeks that this was going on, where I was just convinced that I had PFS. So I was going to the forums. I was like, you know, oh, you got to get your DHT levels checked and your testosterone. So I talked to my doctor. I was like, oh, yeah, that fucking finasteride. Like, you know, I could have sworn that I took like 2 pills in one day because I really didn't know. Like, I just, you know, I wasn't really as diligent with my dosing. You know, there was days that I would skip. There was days that I may have taken it. I may have taken like twice. You know, I just wasn't really like careful with it. And my doctor was like, no, like it's all in your head. Like don't worry about it. So yeah, so I got my testosterone checked, and my testosterone levels were actually pretty good. They were like in the mid 500 range, and my DHT levels were pretty good. So my hormones look generally good. So yeah, I was just completely convinced. But you know, eventually I was finally able to get an erection, and it was a very painful erection. Like it was, and then when I got the erection, it was actually I think what I did is I injured it, but I think also something happened to my veins because basically when I was finally able to get an erection, I was like just looking up like fucking Latina MILF porn, which is like my favorite type of porn, and it was very hard where like blood wouldn't go to the top side of the penis, and when I finally able to get it, it was actually deviating, like it was curving to the left. I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck is that? And then that's finally when I started to Google like penile injuries, and when it all started to come together, I was like, wait, you know, really what happened is like when I felt my erection first go away was when I started experiencing this pain, and then that's when it all clicked that like maybe it's not really like the finasteride. And I was very new to like penis and like hormones, and even to navigating the healthcare system. Like thankfully I had a pretty good insurance. I had PPO, like platinum, Blue Cross Platinum. And you know, during this time, me and my wife were just like not in good terms. She was just like, oh, it's on your head, like stop bugging me about it. And she was just not very helpful. But I was just kind of freaking out. Like you know, I was sending like multiple messages to my doctor about it, and he was like just kind of basically just brushing me off, essentially, right? It wasn't until, like I said, like I got this erection and it was like curving, where I like put two and two together, and I'm like, wait a minute, I think I have like this thing like Peyronie's, right? Because it's all the symptoms, like it's hard to get an erection. It was painful erections, and it was curving. So it was here when I basically started to focus more on the actual injury, and really like two and two, you know, I put two and two together, and it turned out, at least in my mind, that like no, I don't think this has anything to do directly with finasteride. Like I get that maybe finasteride costs things, right? I started doing a ton of research, and basically finasteride does in fact affect the penis, right, through the DHT. So there's a study, right, that basically proved that at least in rats, that the penile weight decreases significantly when using finasteride. And they basically did a test where with finasteride, dutasteride, and a control, and it was found that dutasteride just caused like a much higher decrease in penile weight. Finasteride was less, but it's still significant, and there was no change in penile weight for the control group. So it was at that time where I just started to realize that I think this PFS forums are just like filled with like hypochondriacs. You know, I think that's really like my ultimate, or what I started to realize is like no, these people are like crazy. Like you know, there I do think that to a certain degree I think PFS is real, right? I think to some individuals, it can actually like, you know, get your balance of the hormone balance out of whack, and it's really hard to get them back into balance. um you know, I think there is some side effects. It definitely can affect your penis, your libido. But I think like this just people just blow it way out of proportion, right? And even with the study, right? Like, I think there's something to it, but I don't think that was like the main reason. In fact, when you look at the study, the smooth muscle count did not decrease, but there was still a change in the penile weight. So like I wonder, like what I think happened is that it thins out your tunica and kind of like makes it a little bit more vulnerable. It also lowers your libido and can increase ED. And the combination of all of these things make it much easier to injure yourself. So it was around this time where, I started just really focusing more on treating the Peyronie's. And really, I started, reading a lot about that. And finally, I was actually like looked up specialists of Peyronie's and got an appointment with the local urologist here in the UCLA medical system, who was like basically a specialist in these types of issues, specifically Peyronie's. So I was able to get an appointment. And so, I waited for the appointment. During this time, I was still able to get erections. So I started to become way more diligent about measuring and like what was up with my dick. And it was actually looking pretty good. But my erections were still not like fully there. And I was still having some pain. Like it was painful when I basically like stretched my flaccid penis. It was basically painful. So I finally got to see the doctor, and the doctor basically like took my dick, and he was like, "Oh, you have a good sized dick." I was like, "Okay, whatever. I don't care. Like, just what's wrong with it?" And then he pulled it, and it was like, "Oh man, it's painful." It was like, "Oh, you know what? That's actually a good thing. That means that you're in the acute phase of the disease." And so he started me with L-citrulline and Cialis, and this was started my journey basically with the whole PE community. So more time passed, and I was like, okay, I'll just take these supplements. And this was around like month one, where this was at. I was getting some erections, but I was definitely noticing some changes in the penis. So I was noticing a little bit of shortening at the time, and shortening, and also loss of girth. And I was being a lot more diligent into taking pictures. And the pictures, like, yeah, you could really tell that there was changes in the penis. And so, yeah, so basically this is where I started looking into traction. But I was so scared of doing traction, of using a vacuum erection device, because you hear also all these horror stories from people like, no, you want to leave it alone, this and that. And that's what took me so long. So ultimately, and by the way, like when I found out about the side effects of finasteride, I stopped just taking it. I called cold turkey. And so I stopped taking it. And for about a year, a little bit over a year, I did, I waited for until like 3 months when I finally ordered the Restorix device, because number one, I had to save up for it, and number two, I was just too scared to do traction. So I finally ordered it because I noticed that my penis was getting shorter and I was losing girth. And I wasn't really measuring girth as much. Like, I think this was just something that I realized after the fact when I started kind of looking at the pictures. So unfortunately, I didn't really like measure. I was just more concerned with the length. Like, I never really thought about girth. I never really thought about length before. Like, it's just something that just wasn't crossing my mind, right? And so, yeah, I finally ordered it. Actually, thankfully my brother, I think, like, he actually got it for me because I couldn't afford it at the time. And so I told him the story, and he helped me get it. So that's when I started the whole traction, and traction really really helped a lot. So I don't want to focus too much on the traction and the VED, because that's not what this video is about. So I did traction, and for about like I said, like a year, where I wasn't taking finasteride. And kind of backtrack a little bit. So like I said, when I started taking it, you could tell that my hair was really really bad, right? I'll see if I like pop up some picture of me before. But yeah, you could tell, like, basically what I really noticed is that when, like, I saw a celebrity and like I took a selfie with the celebrity. It was that guy from How I Met Your Mother. Here in LA you always see celebrities. And so I took a picture. I was like, damn, my hair is fucked up, like, because my hair, like, I was also working out a lot more at the time. And so I think that increased my testosterone, which increased my DHT, was making it progress even faster. I was taking even like creatine and stuff like that. And then you could really tell that it was like really really bad. Like, it was really thinning, particularly around like the temples and stuff. And so after about like about 2 years of me taking it, like it worked wonders. Like I was a pretty hyper responder. Like I'll put up another video of me just before the injury, before like I thought I got PFS, just how good like the transition was when I over of the 2 years of me taking finasteride. So like it worked wonders, and I was so happy. Like I had really high self-esteem. I was working out. I was doing all this thing. And the only thing is that I was still masturbating a lot. I was a fucking still like a nerd, but kind of working out and stuff. um, so I stopped taking it for that whole year, where I did my traction therapy and my VD therapy, and this is where I tried like everything, like weight hanging and all kind of like clamping and DMSO and all these other things. Particularly because I learned, number one, I realized that most of those PFS people are just hypochondriacs. Like I think it's people that just get way too paranoid. I think people that just have like more mental problems, right? Like they have like a lot of like nocebo effect. And even if it is like that's what affected my penis injury, like I'm not gonna be focused on that. Like I'm gonna be focused on actually fixing that, right? Like not fixing my hormones. My hormones were fine because I got it all tested. So I stopped taking it for a whole year, and I started seeing my hair like receding again, right? Like, and it was like horrible. Like I didn't like it. And I was pretty happy with my penis at the time, because with the Cialis I was getting good erections. With the traction I was getting a good length. I had lost girth, but I wasn't like as worried about that. Like I'm like happy with the length more so than anything. I started really looking into girth about the end of I would say about 9 months, where I was starting to do more clamping and really using my BED more consistently, and looking into DMSO. So about a year into it, I basically, two things happened. Like number one, I decided to leave my wife. We were just fighting a lot, and it was just not helpful throughout this process. We're still in good terms. We're still in good terms, but I just decided, like, and number two, like, with my bigger dick, I was like, man, I want to try this shit out. I want to try this shit out. And then I went to visit Dr. Eid in New York. He basically prescribed me the PGU1, the prostadil injections, and I was getting fucking hard ass erections. So I was like, fuck yeah, I wanna try this out. And like, if this chick like fucking doesn't want to help me, like I'm gonna go and just fuck a bunch of bitches and get over this, and like fucking date and like make up for lost time, make up for lost dick, like, and enjoy my brand new dick, right? um and then another thing is, I have a boy, so I didn't want to like fucking really expose him to finasteride, like especially in such early age. So I was like, it's probably better, because you can secrete finasteride through it's mostly secreted through your urine, but you can also secrete it through like the hair, and even the skin. So it's like, I don't really want him to be exposed even to 1 microgram of this shit. Like I want his dick to be as big as it can be naturally, right? And then later, like, I'll tell him about PE or whatever if he wants. I might even tell them about DHT gel, whatever, and at least tell him and like make it his choice. But I was like, yeah, it's probably better if I just like, if I want to have my hair and I want to have my dick and I want to fucking like get out of this toxic situation, I'm just gonna move out. And so I moved out, and so now I had the injections, and that's when I finally started taking it. I was like, fuck this shit, fuck all these hypochondriacs, fuck all this shit. Like, I don't think that's what really fucked me up. I think it was more from like the constant masturbation, which that's what really caused the ED. Because like I said, like I was just like that time where I was having that rough anal sex, I had masturbated like fucking 5 times that same day, so I just wasn't as hard as I could have been. Yeah, I started taking it when I moved out. I started taking it again, and so it's been a little bit like it's been like about 2 years since then. Yeah, altogether it's been 4 years. I'm 36 now. So now I'm very careful. Like, I change the sheets. I like, it's kind of sucks because like I'm so paranoid, where I really won't even let my boy like really touch me too much, or even touch my hair a lot. Like, I think like, even if like I am secreting some finasteride through my skin or whatever, I don't think it's enough to like affect him. But I'm just like super careful. Like I just, and it kind of sucks because like, you want to hug your boy, you want to do all this stuff, but I'm just like being extra careful. I don't think people should really be. I'm just like, I just know the science behind it, and I know there's a possibility. But like, I just, I'm just like super careful. So now when I spend time with him, I'll just like hug him like through the clothes, and I'll, like I said, I won't let him really touch my hair or anything like that. But I still spend a lot of time with him, and yeah, always careful with the bathroom and make sure there's no like urine or anything like that. It's just like just being super careful. But again, like once your body metabolizes it, it metabolizes it to a non-active form. So like there's really no reason for me to be this paranoid. But again, I just, it's my boy. Like obviously I'm gonna be as careful as I can be. And so all these things basically concluded with me retaking finasteride after about a year and a half. And so it's been 2 years, right, since so let's see. So I took about 2 years, probably less than 2 years. I got the injury. I stopped taking it for a year, and now it's been a little bit more than a year and a half where I've been taking it again. And unfortunately, I did lose some like this right here. You can tell. And before it wasn't I didn't lose that. This was during the period where I stopped taking it. And also from the crown, I lost some, and so I started taking it again, and I never really regained this. And only recently have I started looking into minoxidil and taking minoxidil. It's been only like about two months that I'm doing minoxidil and microneedling. So I'm microneedling like every weekend. I'll take minoxidil 1 or 2 times a day. I rub it into my temples, and it's looking pretty good. I want to say, like, I'm getting some regrowth here. I'm getting a lot of what's called vellus hairs, like there's little baby hairs, and hopefully I can get everything back. But to me, like I said, like hair has always been super important. And I think like, if would I recommend someone to take finasteride? I would definitely never ever recommend anyone under the age of 23 to take finasteride, because puberty can go as long as like 23. So you don't want to inhibit the growth, because DHT is extremely important. I would be super careful, like don't get pregnant with it. Lucky for me, my wife got pregnant before I even started taking it, so that wasn't an issue. But when I started taking it, I made a decision. Even my doctor told me, I was like, man, I don't want to have any more kids. Like, two is enough. I don't want to have any more. So it was literally like, for me at least, it was like a choice between having more kids or keeping my hair, which is a fucked up decision. But hey, I already had 2 kids. Like, I don't want any more kids. Now knowing more about the science, I think like I could detox for like 2 months, just have a kid, and and basically not have sex. Or if I have sex during the pregnancy, I would use a condom. So I would tell this, to any guy that's thinking of doing it. It's just, hey, be extra careful, particularly if you're trying to get pregnant. Particularly, or if it's a boy, be super careful. Because like what I do to my body, who gives a fuck? Whether if I fuck myself up, that's fine. But if I do something to like a baby or a boy, that's where like it really fucks up. So I think these are the stories that really really scared me the most from the PFS like people, right? um but yeah, like I said, ultimately I think it's just being extra careful. So these are things that I would tell people. Other than that, I think you're fine. Like, just don't think about it too much. Like, it's not gonna affect you that much. If you really really want to be super careful, use a vacuum pump. Use it like every day. Just to make sure that if you do experience, like, because you don't know when you're going to sleep and you're not getting nighttime erections, so at least a VD is able to sort of offset those lack of erections. um and yeah, that's kind of what my stance is on finasteride these days. It's like, it's fine. I would recommend it. Like, if your hair means that much to you, where it's like causing you a mental distress, then go ahead and take it. Like, I don't think, take it from me, where I really thought that I had PFS. But you might want to be safe and take like a snapshot of your hormones before, so if anything goes wrong, you can have a baseline to go back to. And besides just taking precautions, again, around with kids, and this is kind of side tangent, like why I'm just not a fan of topical finasteride. Like, I think like people just recommending topical finasteride haphazardly. I think it's wrong, because like, again, you have a boy or you have a kids, like, right, they could get exposed to it, and that can absorb. It goes systemic. Like, you don't want to be taking that. Like, it's gonna get on your pillows and whatever. So just be extra careful. It's the same with doing like DHT gel, like, for whatever. There's a lot of reasons. Or testosterone gel. You see a lot of cases where, like, the father was putting testosterone gel and basically induced early puberty in their kids, like in their boys and stuff. So Yeah, I wouldn't really recommend anyone to use topical finasteride if they have kids. Just be extra careful. And yes, that's kind of my thoughts. So, yeah, so I think nowadays I'm pretty happy. I still take finasteride 1 milligram every day. I'm very happy with, well, I want to regain my hair, especially this part right here. I looked into getting a hair transplant, but I feel like I want to try microneedling, and it's not. First of all, it's not that bad. Where like I'm gonna spend like 20 fucking grand on a fucking hair transplant. Number two, I feel like it's something that I could probably regain with the minoxidil and microneedling. So I'm gonna try that, and so yeah, it's kind of like, at the end it was a happy ending. I think my circumstances were just like, it was just a fucking clusterfuck of things that happened at the same time, right? Like I had ED from the masturbation. I was taking finasteride. I found that video on finasteride was really like fuck with my mind. I read about PFS, really fuck with my mind. But at the same time, I really had like a legit injury that really fucked with my dick. That really like changed the structure of my dick and like all these things. So at the end you want to address those things, not really focus on the finasteride or anything like that. So as far as like PE, now I don't really do as much as active PE as I used to. Like I said, like I've talked in my other videos, I mostly do it as a maintenance routine. So I don't know, like, I still do a lot of traction, and I don't think the finasteride does anything good or bad about it. Now, I will say that I still experience some form of ED where I still need to take Cialis daily to have erections. So hey, if you want to take finasteride and Cialis, I think go for it. Like I think that's a great combination. That's what I do. I still take injections for because a lot of things, I think it's like mental. When I want to fuck a girl and I'm nervous, like I'll still inject and like have a good sex session. um so I think in my case, I don't think it's that unique. I think there's a lot of guys that are like that have taken finasteride, that like have ED, that may think they have a lot of symptoms that like may injure their dick, and like so that's the whole reason I had this channel. It's like you can get over this, like you can fix it and have a better life at the other end, right? And this is why I talk about even like having like toxic relationships and getting out of them, and being able to restart your life. And nowadays I'm like fucking dating, I'm fucking a ton of hot chicks, like have had some amazing relationships with some fucking fine ass girls, fuck the shit out of them. Like it's amazing. Obviously everything is like protected, because like one of the things that I always tell the girls, I was like, look, I don't want to be like the fucking quarterback that gets injured in the middle of his career. So I'm always super careful with everything. Thank God I haven't never caught anything, and I'm like always wear protection. So always wear protection. And yeah, that's kind of like my story around finasteride. So hey, if you got any sort of value or you enjoyed my story, please make sure you like and subscribe. Go ahead and subscribe right now. I put out a lot of videos about PE, about male hormones, looks maxing, a lot of things, a lot of experiments that I've just done on myself throughout the years. So yeah, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.